I'm live. We got 3 viewers now. Woo! Whoever's here, what's up? I'm just gonna play guitar for a second, but we're gonna talk about some stuff. Consider this the intro music. We got someone, Meslow's Art. What's up? Yeah, we're just vibing. We're just hanging out. I want to talk a little bit today about censorship of psychedelics online. And then on the flip side of that, we'll talk about like mainstream examples of psychedelic stuff being in the culture. But I'm just going to play some guitar for a second and see if anyone else shows up. This is kind of like a test run. Haven't done a stream in a while. But if you can see, there's a Discord link right under my screen here. If you're not in the Discord, you can hop in and you can be part of the stream too if you just follow that Discord link that's right under my face. And I'm going to bring in the Discord in a little bit. So welcome. We got 4 people. I'll see if we can get like one more person, then I'll start talking about the stuff I wanted to talk about. Hope you're doing well. I'll just go ahead and start. So let me put this guitar away. I'll probably pick this back up. All right, howdy, Carrie. What's up? Okay, so if anything, this will be for the people that watch the stream after. So let's go to what we wanted to talk about today. So today's subject, let me get this to fit in the screen nicely. So we're going to talk about censorship of psychedelics online. So this is kind of an ongoing issue, but it's recently come up, and there's this article that was written about it by Double Blind, which is a great psychedelic magazine. It says, WTF is going on with Instagram's censorship of psychedelics. And then caption says, why are so many psychedelic accounts disappearing on Instagram? From harm reduction educators to industry leaders, Meta's AI is targeting the psychedelic community while allowing drug dealers to thrive. We spoke to a former Meta employee to see why this is happening. So I think part of the answer is in here. Meta's AI is targeting the psychedelic community. Obviously, AI is going to get some stuff wrong and be inconsistent because it's a robot. But in a way, they don't really have a choice but to use something like that. I'm not like making an excuse for them here. I'm just kind of saying why this is the case. Because there's just such a huge volume of content being made that, you know, some stuff is going to get flagged incorrectly. But the thing is, it doesn't seem like some stuff. It's like, it's way overboard. It's overzealous, you could say. And that's what this article says. So we'll read a little bit more of it. So in the next slide, shadow banned, deleted, censored. Meta's AI is targeting harm reduction educators, researchers, and even businesses in the psychedelic space. Accounts are disappearing without explanation. So that's one of the worst things that happens. And you know, since starting my YouTube channel, I've met a few people who make content like this, like what I do, and it's almost like a rite of passage to get your channel deleted, which is so sad. And it, just to think that like all your years of hard work and content that you've created, like we're talking about hours upon hours, just being deleted by some AI that is not even a human being. Like that's just such a horrible feeling. And I've seen it happen to some of my friends. Their account gets deleted because they make psychedelic content. One example is this guy, Micropreneur. He makes satire stuff, and his account was deleted at like 40K followers. And he's really good too. And a lot of the time what's frustrating is they don't give you an explanation. It's just like you wake up one day and your account's deleted. And this also recently happened with my friend Chrysanthus. Okay, so backtracking a little bit, Micropreneur had his Instagram deleted. And then Chrysanthus had her YouTube deleted. And it was for a legal mushroom. And that's what's kind of crazy about this stuff is like, not only do they not tell you why your account gets deleted, but it'll often be for totally innocuous things. Like it'll say in this article, but they'll even like flag lucid dreaming. Like that's so silly. Okay, let's keep going. So these are some of the accounts that got affected. So Double Blind. I don't know what this little circle with the slash in it means. Like I guess that just means they've had problems, because Double Blind obviously is still right here. So yeah, Double Blind, Psychedelics Today, these are like big accounts. Third Wave, psychedelics.com, and then a lot of smaller creators who are not on this list. So okay, so let's go to the article. So inside Instagram censorship of psychedelics. Speaking to a former Meta employee. Let me know if y'all can read this or if it's too small. So, when Double Blind's Instagram account was first taken down by Meta in 2021, little explanation was offered. Leading up to the account suspension, posts and stories were taken down by the platform and the profile was shadow banned, whereby an account becomes unviewable to non-followers and content receives less engagement. The decision is based on our guidelines on regulated goods. One of the many takedown notices says, when Double Blind tries to contact Meta, explaining that they had carefully read its guidelines, never violated them, and are a legal media company registered in California, no explanation was given for what they did wrong. More than once, Double Blind's account mysteriously reemerged after days of nail-biting anxiety, but for many other psychedelic industry figures and media organizations, they may never return. Yeah, that's one of the worst parts of all of this, is just that feeling of not being in the dark. It's like that feeling when you have some kind of issue you want to work out and you really want to talk to a human being and you're stuck on some kind of robotic call and just like going in circles and you're just like, you want to yell at the thing and be like, give me a human. It's kind of like that, but it's your entire life's work on the line. 1 second. I had this little thing that'll make my mouse a nice color. Okay. Oh. Why doesn't it want to work? Okay. Whatever, I'll figure that out. So, little by little, a trend has become noticeable among Double Blind's punished posts. Perhaps unsurprisingly, those that incur Meta's wrath generally appear to relate to the consumption of psychedelics, no matter that they are usually framed around important harm reduction advice to help keep people safe. Other miscellaneous posts bit the dust, too, with reasons remaining opaque. So that is a big part of it, too. If they have any suspicion that you're talking about the consuming of psychedelics, that's usually what leads to problems down the line. And that's really hard as a creator in this space because you want to make videos and titles that are searchable. So it's like the most obvious thing is like LSD trip report or something like that. And if you put that, that's like directly advertising that you're talking about consuming psychedelics. So it's like you can use code words to get around that, and but that makes it harder for people to find your stuff. So it's kind of like a catch-22. I don't know if I'm using that phrase correctly. So independent media organizations appear to be bound by certain rules, one that don't apply to TV hosts like Oprah and Anderson Cooper, who have openly discussed psychedelics on their primetime shows. So why can't people on social media discuss the legality of mushroom gummies in Oregon, highlight the harms that have occurred in some psychedelic retreat centers and clinics, or investigate whether Xanax is a safe trip killer or not? Or even more bizarrely, and not at all related to taking psychedelics, to lucid dream. That's what's crazy. Okay, they have a link here. Let's see. Let's see why lucid dreaming will get you in trouble on Meta. Okay, it's talking about a legal dream herb. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about it being banned. Oh, that looks cool. Does anyone have any experience with dream herbs? Okay, I'm trying to see if it says anything about them getting shadow banned or something. Okay, well that was kind of unrelated. All right, going back to the article. Oh, I got to upgrade to read the rest of the story. Sorry. I'm not going to do that right now. Let me show you guys the video that got Chrysanthelis's channel taken down. 1 second. Okay, YouTube. Chris Ansels. Okay, this is the one. You guys see this? I tried a legal shroom. So it's about Amanita muscaria.
Before, I swear the flavor has improved. I swear these are even better than the ones I had before. So whatever y'all are doing over there, keep it up. So good. Love those gummies. And next up, we are going to try the dried caps. So the smell smells just like shrooms, dried shrooms.
So she's talking all about Amanita, and she even tries them live on camera. And before she had even posted this video, they deleted her channel. Like, she had just uploaded it and had it like in the canon ready to go, and they deleted her whole channel based on illegal mushroom, which is insane. And she's had her channel for like over 10 years. She has 13K subscribers. She's really great, by the way, if y'all haven't heard of her channel. She doesn't just post only psychedelic stuff, but she does have some stuff in there that I recommend. And this video itself is really, really good. Yeah, I haven't really taken that much of Amanita before, but I tried a microdose, and it was very like relaxing and calming. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So let me show you guys my other friend who had his channel deleted on Instagram. So that was Micropreneur. Oh, we lost it. So, okay, let me get this. This thing is tweaking. What? All right, this is the kind of technical stuff y'all gotta deal with since I haven't streamed in a long time. Okay, so this is Micropreneur, hilarious guy, and his stuff isn't even talking about like trip reports or anything like that. Let's see. He had a video. Oh, he actually reposted this exact article. Let's see what he said. He said, "Stoked to be part of today's featured story for Double Blind. Remember when IG deleted me at 25K with no warning? Since then, I've been invited to South by Southwest twice, Harvard Law School, featured in Rolling Stone, Forbes, Wired, Vice, and more for the exact body of work that Instagram banned me for, and I'm still here." Okay, that's badass. Respect. But that just goes to show you how it's like we're in such a weird gray area right now in society where on one hand you could be banned for talking about this stuff, have your entire channel deleted, and then on the other hand be invited to like mainstream platforms to talk about the exact same thing. And the reason you're getting banned is just because of some AI system that is overzealous and too ham-fisted in their regulation. So, and then like the article said earlier, you can get it back, but it's just not guaranteed. So, yes, kind of terrifying. But Terrence McKenna actually had this one thing that he said where someone asked him like, "Why don't you think the FBI has gotten you yet?" And he said, "I think it's because I use big words." Because with Tim Leary, he used like a simple catchphrase that was at like a 3rd grade level: turn on, tune in, drop out. And that's kind of like a rallying cry that goes against the societal norms. But Terrence McKenna is over here talking about the concrescence of the eschaton. And it's like, what's your NSA agent who's eavesdropping on you? What are they going to make of that? You know, like it might go over a lot of people's head. So that's more or less the approach that I like to take. Like I like to get into the nitty gritty of psychedelic stuff and talk about like the esoteric links and like kind of the implications, as Terrence would say. And then I'll only mention, you know, taking substances in passing. So that's kind of my approach. So let me see if I can show you guys. He had a reel that went pretty viral recently. I'm going to try to show it to you guys. It's about like ketamine yoga or something. Let's see. Maybe it's pinned. Let me check my Discord. For those of you who didn't hear me at the very beginning, there is a Discord link right below my face here. You can use that to hop in the Discord, and then we're going to include the Discord on the stream in just a little bit. Oh, yeah, it looks like we got Mastrix. And then we got Just Too Lazy. So, all right, cool. Yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit more about this stuff, and then I'll open it up. I'll open up the floor. Let me try to find this video. Here. Sorry, 1 second.
Being adequately prepared and backed by third-party trip insurance. Introducing Bon Voyage Trip Insurance. Our comprehensive offerings.
Oh, sorry. There's this thing in my way that I can't click on the browser. Oh, there we go. Sorry about the technical stuff. Okay. I need to find the yoga, the ketamine yoga. Oh wait, no. K-hole shaman. Not exactly. Oh, here it is.
Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Ketamine Yoga. Here's your dissociative anesthetic that's being used off-label, apparently for spiritual enlightenment. We're going to start off in extended child's pose.
Have I been here 30 minutes or 30 lifetimes? It's impossible to tell. The linear flow of time has been irrevocably distorted.
Next up, we'll do a vinyasa flow, which hits quite differently in the K-hole. More of a discombobulated, angular, glacially paced series of movements than what we would traditionally consider a flow. Help. I'm actually frozen like this. Let's meet in Warrior 2. Pretty ironic that ketamine was used as a field anesthetic in various wars, and yet here we have co-opted it into the peaceful Warrior 2 yoga flow. It's getting quite difficult to explain anything anymore. Why don't we all just take an extended Shavasana and trip out for a while? These are exciting times when we can mix and match cherry-pick elements of ancient traditions with modern synthetic molecules. Namaste.
Okay, so stuff like that is enough to get you deleted on Instagram. I don't even know if there was a specific video that did that. But anyway, there's more people that I know, but these are like just top of mind people that got their stuff deleted for talking about this very important thing that we love. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about the flip side of this coin, where there's examples of mainstream psychedelia where it is accepted. Obviously you have like news stories, things of that nature. But there's a few things that come to mind. If you have any examples of like something psychedelic in mainstream culture or just culture in general, like a movie or whatever, put it in the chat and we'll look it up. But I have a couple things in mind. So the number one example of psychedelics in culture, I think, is that scene from it's like Hunter S. Thompson tripping. Yeah, Fear and Loathing, that's what it is.
She's a lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She's a lady. Talking about that little lady.
Take the ticket. We're busy here. Come on, take the ticket. Take it. Take the ticket.
I need this, right?
I'll remember your face.
There is no way of explaining the terror I felt. I was pouring sweat. My blood is too thick for Nevada. I've never been able to properly explain myself in this climate. Okay. Be quiet. Be calm. Name? Frank? And press affiliation. Nothing else.
Hamburger stand. She's a waitress about 16 years old. They chopped her goddamn head off right there in the parking lot. Then they cut all kinds of holes in her and sucked out the blood. They wrapped the pineal gland, I think. Yeah. Now, how's your mama?
Ignore this terrible drug. Yeah. Pretend it's not happening.
Here!
My name? Raoul Duke. On the list. Free lunch. Final wisdom. Total coverage. I have my attorney with me, and I realize that his name is not on that list, but we must have that suite. Yes, we must have that suite. What's the score here? What's next?
Your suite isn't ready yet, but someone was looking for you.
No, we haven't done anything yet. Move!
I can't have.
So not the most charitable depiction of psychedelics, but I feel like this is one of those things that so many people have seen that it's like a lot of people know about it. So let's see. Okay, this is where it gets interesting though.
This man suffers from a bad heart, but I have plenty of medicine. My name is Dr. Gonzo. Prepare a suite at once. We'll be in the bar.
I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel that drink.
Fire. Okay, beat it. Beat it. Got it.
Well, I like the way you did that.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's get some peanuts.
Peanuts?
That's one thing that's good for you, man. Peanuts, man. Peanuts. Two Cuba Libres beer, mezcal on the side.
You got it.
I bet you're a Libra.
Where's Lacerda?
Lacerda?
Yeah, he's waiting for us on the 12th floor. On the 1250. Lacerda.
I couldn't remember. The name rang a bell, but I couldn't concentrate. Terrible things were happening all around us. Where's some golf shoes? Otherwise, we'll never get out of this place alive. Impossible to walk in this muck. No footing at all.
Okay. I feel like I remember there being more actual psychedelic things in that movie clip, but yeah, maybe the snake monster just stuck in my memory. But yeah, so that was not exactly the best depiction of psychedelics that I could ever think of. It's just like the first one that comes to mind. And even though he was talking about like these negative aspects, he handled it like a champ. And so I don't know if that would necessarily like convince somebody to do psychedelics. Okay, so there's one other thing, and that is the Beatles. So the Beatles are a huge part of psychedelics being introduced into the culture. And I think that it's so cool that what was considered the biggest band in the world at one point was making extremely psychedelic music. And it was like becoming #1 hits. Like Strawberry Fields Forever was a #1 hit song. Like, could you imagine that today? Like something so trippy, surreal, and dreamlike. Like, it just wouldn't happen. There's good music being made, but nothing like that. Okay, so let's watch this story about the first time that George Harrison and John Lennon took acid. I'm trying to get this situated in the screen. Okay.
We went to the club, we thought it was on.
Oh, here we go.
A dentist in London laid it on George, me and our wives without telling us at the dinner party at his house. He was a friend of George's and our dentist at the time. And he just put it in our coffee or something, yeah. He was saying, I advise you not to leave, and we thought he was all trying to keep us for an orgy.
Okay, so I just want to stop to say their dentist spiked their coffee with LSD with them having no experience tripping or anything like that in the past. That is so extremely unethical, but like, I'm glad he did it at the same time, because that guy just changed history and music history with one fell swoop. All right, let's keep going.
In his house, and we didn't want to know, you know. I mean, it was insane going around London on it, and we thought, when we went to the club, we thought it was on fire, and we were cackling in the street, and then, you know, people were shouting, let's break a window. You know, we were just insane. I mean, we just had our heads, and finally we got in the lift, and we all thought there was a fire in the lift. It was just a little red light, and we were all screaming like that. And the lift stops, and the door opens, and we're all going, ah! And we just see that it's the club, and then we walk in, you know, sit down, and the table's elongated. It was only a table like this with four of us, right? But it went this long. And then some singer came up to me and said, can I sit next to you? And I go, only if you don't talk! You know, like, because I just couldn't think. And then George somehow or another managed to drive us home in his Mini, but we were going about 10 miles an hour. It seemed like 1,000. And I was getting all this sort of hysterical jokes coming out, like a speed, because I was always on that. So, oh, you know, and George was going, don't make me laugh! Ah! And, you know, God, it was just terrifying. You know? But it was fantastic. And then George's house seemed to be just like a big submarine. I was driving it. They all went to bed. I was carrying on, and they seemed to float above his wall, which was 18 foot. You know, I was right driving them. And that's how it happened.
Yes.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Bonham.
Oops. So this one experience led them to taking LSD multiple times and writing some crazy songs about their experience and the state of consciousness that they arrived at. So I feel like we can't talk about psychedelics in culture without first bringing up the 60s, because that's when it really took place. But it's always been at the fringes, because, you know, in the 1800s, or I don't know about the 1800s, but there's always been people doing peyote in America. The Sonoran Desert is where peyote naturally grows, so that would be like some parts of Texas. Oh, sorry, I'm getting that confused with the toad, with the desert toad, the 5-MeO toad. But yeah, peyote naturally grows in some parts of America, so that's always been here. It's always been happening. And in the early 1900s, people started experimenting with mescaline. There was a philosopher guy, I forgot what his name was, William James, I believe, took mescaline and wrote about it like over 100 years ago. So it's been happening in the fringes, but it wasn't until the 60s that things became part of the culture, and there's this whole visual element that comes with opening your mind to psychedelics. And that opens up a whole new can of worms of like, what makes psychedelic art? What makes psychedelic music? What is it about being super colorful and having certain patterns that make something psychedelic? If anyone has any thoughts on that, I would like to hear, what do you think makes something psychedelic? As far as music goes, I think you can make stuff that sounds trippy, and you can kind of like emulate some of the effects of psychedelics. Let me show you my guitar. So this is just plain old guitar, right? But then if I throw this effects pedal that I have on there, doesn't that sound... So there's something about that, and this is an effect called delay, where it basically echoes. I have a special version of it right now where the sound changes as it echoes, but basically you're just repeating. Hear how it kept going? So you could think of that as like tracers, like when you're tripping really hard and you move your hand and you see like trails following things. This is kind of like that. Yeah, so that's one example of like an effect, a musical effect leading to a psychedelic vibe. There's way more to it than that. I've had this discussion with a bunch of people. It's just like such a huge topic that it's hard to even start with. But another thing that makes art and music psychedelic is the emotion. There's this like blissful kind of like vibey feeling that when you hear something, you're like, oh, you know, like that reminds me of these states of mind. It's almost beyond language, like the experience itself, but you know it whenever you feel it. You know it when you hear it. You know it when you see it. For example, I played a show with my band, and we have this one song that we play, and right after that song ended, the guy in the other band came up to me. He was like, dude, that was awesome. Like, it made me want to take some mushrooms. So it's like, what is it about the quality of music that makes someone want to eat some mushrooms, you know? So, all right. I think let's open it up to the Discord. We got 6 people in here. If you guys see, there's a link below my video image right here. That's the link to jump in the Discord. I'm going to open it up, and we're going to have all of you guys be part of the stream. We got a chat. It says, Fripp and Eno's Heavenly Music Corporation is very visual. It's a musical trip. Interesting. I know Fripp and Eno, but I don't think I know what that is. Fripp and Eno Heavenly Music.
We went to the club, we thought it was on fire, and we were cackling in the street, and then, you know, people...
Okay, is it just an album? Heavenly Music Corporation. I like that it's a corporation. Okay. I'm going to refrain from playing this on the stream because I don't know if there's like some copyright thing. But I will check this out, so thank you. All right, let me get this voice chat going. All right. All right, whoever wants to hop in, go for it. Hey. You there?
Hello.
Hey. Oh, 1 second. You came in pretty loud. Let me turn. I think I can turn you down on my end. Can you say something on the mic? Test it.
Hey there.
Hey. Can you hear me on the Discord at the same time as the stream?
They're offset by like 3-4 seconds. I hear both of them at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, maybe turn off the or at least mute the live stream one on your end, because yeah, we're gonna be We're going to be sending messages in a bottle just to have a conversation. All right. So yeah, I didn't really have too much to say. This is more just like of a trial, just kind of getting things going, getting back into the swing of things. But what you up to?
Trying to figure out this interface right now.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanted to stay away from, or, you know, how far away from politics you wanted to stay. The most recent, you know, kind of mainstream example was that came to my mind was there were those videos from the recent U.S. presidential inauguration where Elon Musk was making some curious body language and people were saying he was tripping or something on the stage there.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I think that was the RNC or some kind of like convention thing. We might be talking about two separate ones, but yeah, there's a thing of like Elon Musk tripping on ketamine, and it's pretty widely known that he uses a lot of ketamine, potentially even addicted to it. But yeah, no, I'm not familiar enough with ketamine to really have any thoughts on it, but yeah, he's probably not making the best case for its use right now.
I was just wondering if anybody thought that he was really tripping or...
Well, is it the one where he...
I thought some of the bigger socials like Micropreneur, for example, might comment on it, but I didn't see that any of them did. They probably didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Too hot.
They might. Yeah, I know Micropreneur sometimes when something like that happens, he'll like make a video really fast. He has a very fast turnaround. There was a really funny one that he made that was like the brain worms in RFK Jr. telling him to legalize mushrooms. And they had some kind of like some kind of like throat singing music, and it was like Jabba the Hutt. It was awesome. Yeah, but I know he was wearing sunglasses indoors. Is that the thing you're talking about?
Ooh, I can't remember.
Let's look it up, actually. Let me just look it up on YouTube right now. Elon Musk tripping. Oh, this is what you were talking about. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's exactly the video I was talking about.
Yeah. He's absolutely in space. He doesn't even need to go to Mars. He's already there. Ketamine. Elon Musk defends routine ketamine usage. Says it's good for business. Oh, that's okay. Let's see what he says here.
But you've admitted that you have a ketamine prescription.
Yeah.
What's that for?
Well, I mean, it's pretty private to ask somebody about a medical prescription, you know. But I think it's something I'd say, like, there are times when I have sort of I don't know, like a negative chemical state in my brain, like depression, I guess, you know, is or like depression that's not linked to any negative news, and then ketamine is helpful for getting one out of a negative frame of mind.
Okay, so it sounds like he's using it as a crutch. Oh, I realize, Carrie, you might have had the stream muted still, so you might not have heard that.
Yeah, I just figured that out too.
Oh, okay. Well, he basically said that he has depression and that so he uses ketamine when he's in this kind of depressive state and that helps him and therefore it's good for business. Which, I mean, maybe if you're using like a tiny little amount, but like if you're out of your mind, that has long-term consequences too. Like for example, I don't know how true this is, but I heard that long-term ketamine usage leads a lot of people to some very like conspiratorial thinking. And that would kind of check out because I was a fan of Elon before, but now he's just really lost me. You know, I think he's losing it. I think he's not sleeping. He's doing a bunch of ketamine and he's drunk on power. He's surrounded by a bunch of sycophant yes men. And he thinks he knows everything about everything, even in areas that he knows absolutely nothing about. So anyway, that's my Elon Musk rant, but
yeah, that's basically where I would have land myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember maybe like 3-4 years ago, something like that, when it first came out that he was using something, and I thought it was like, you know, traditional psychedelics rather than ketamine at that time, but somebody kind of outed him about using it, and he just made this really, really brief, terse reply on Twitter about, at that time, I don't think he owned it yet, at that time, to say, well, whatever I'm doing, I should keep doing it. Looks like I should keep doing it. So that would be pretty much the same as saying it's good for business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think he did experiment with other ones like 2CB. I didn't hear anything more detailed, but like, yeah, I've heard stories. You can't say any of this for sure, just because it's based on hearsay. Link scale, that's a good take, I'd say, about the same about Elon. Yeah, it's really disappointing, man, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's involved with is stuff that I want too. You know, like electric cars, I think are a good thing. Obviously, they have their problems. Battery mining has their problems, but I think business as usual is not the answer to that. And that's always the case, where new technology always means new problems that we got to solve. It doesn't mean, oh, let's keep doing the old thing, which is, by the way, a finite resource. Also, I'm a huge fan of space exploration. I think that we should go to Mars, but I'm seeing now, like, does it have to be this absolutely dystopian, like, capitalist, late stage capitalism hellscape for us to be able to go to Mars? Like, do they need to loot the entire government to be able to do that? That's not how I wanted to see it happen, you know? And then, yeah, because I used to be a tour guide at NASA, so I'm a big space flight fan. And yeah, inner space and outer space can really be compared in a lot of ways. Even just the idea of like taking a trip is like taking off on a rocket ship. It feels like it too. So, I don't know. If anyone here wants to hop in, feel free, hit the link. That sounds good. Okay, I think I'm coming up with something. Yo. What's up?
Just hanging out. Figured I'd stop in.
Yeah, thanks for popping by.
No problem.
Yeah, this is cool. It's just like a little low-key hang.
Yeah, it's a good spot to hang.
Yeah, yeah. So, I've been wanting to do DMT, and I think it's going to happen soon, but you got to make sure that the conditions are right to sail. I've been like being ready for it, but stuff keeps coming up. And I feel like if you have all these other things going on in your mind, you may as well just wait. Like, maybe there's a part of me that's like, I will never truly be ready for something like that, so you might as well just go. But
that's what I was gonna say. Was it's hard to, well, even outside of being truly ready, it's hard to know when you might be ready.
Right. Well, I had gotten to that point too recently where I was like, I feel ready, and I don't know if you heard me tell anyone else this before, but like there's this mythology of like when you're ready for it, DMT will find you. It's very like mythical.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard something like that.
For sure.
And
pretty much any psychedelic I feel is that way.
Yeah, and I like the idea behind that, but I was waiting for DMT to fall in my lap for like several years, and I was like, all right, I'm waiting for this thing to magically appear, and it's not happening. So what I found that was I had like given up on waiting for it to magically appear, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna seek it out. And literally right as soon as I did that, my friend was like, yo, I got some DMT. So it's just like
Wow.
the universe was waiting for me to like make my declaration, and then it
Yeah,
popped up.
that's awesome.
So now that
That's
it's
really neat.
yeah, it is. So now that it's here, I'm just like waiting for the right time to set sail, you know? Like
Mhm.
like I have some, like for example, I was gonna do it the other day, and then I ended up not because some stuff came up, and then right after that, like my mom and my girlfriend both had some like super heavy stuff going on, and then they needed me to talk to them. So I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't do DMT so that I can be present
Right.
in this thing that I need. Is that it's Gary? What
Hello,
up?
good sir.
What up, man?
What's happening?
Just having.
How's my audio? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, good. I'm gonna turn you down a little bit, but I can do that on my end. All right. Can everyone?
I like how.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you. I like how if we properly listen to the drug, which is a weird way to say it, but if we properly listen to the drug, it'll tell you if you are ready or not as well.
Interesting. How do you think that message would come to you though? Or do you have any examples of that or anything?
Well, the example that you just brought up, I think is perfect. You just had that gut feeling, and I feel like that was part of the universe or part of the drug speaking to you.
Right. Yeah. Like even outside of the experience itself, it seems to have some kind of pull or some kind of
Right.
influence. I noticed that for
And
sure with the mushroom.
there's always a buildup before you start the trip, right? Like you've almost taken the drug before you
Yeah.
have even taken it, type of thing.
Dude, that's so true. Yeah. The day that I thought I was
It's like a
gonna
roller coaster.
Yeah, yeah, you're like, if that's not the part of the roller coaster where you start to go up, it's like that's you sitting in the chair of the roller coaster.
Right.
The other
in
day.
line. Or being in line.
Yeah, yeah, I like
Yep.
that. The other day I thought I was gonna take it, and I felt that sensation. Like it feels like it's like that idea of Terrence McKenna where the future is sending a shock wave back into the past. It's like some future event, and that it's already influencing your present moment. And I felt like that, like the day I thought I was gonna take it, I just felt this like sensitive state of mind where I felt, I don't know, it felt like like you can feel the door of another dimension opening up. It's wild, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
I'm guessing you guys are talking about the psychedelic experience.
How'd you know, man? Yeah, we're talking specifically.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, we're talking about DMT because I haven't done it yet, and I was just telling them how like there's this whole idea of like it'll find you when you're ready. It's very like spiritual, and then I waited for it to do that, and then as soon as I gave up waiting and being like, okay, I'm just gonna seek it out, then my friend calls me and is like, yo, I got some DMT. So
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
I don't know what to believe.
It's a very prominent myth. I think it's okay to believe it as like kind of a fun thing to be open to, but I think holding too much weight on that, probably not.
Yeah.
That's how it goes with a lot of this stuff. You know, like you can get your chart read or whatever it is, and it can be a great way to like a divination tool. We were talking about this last night, like the I Ching and stuff, but like you don't want to put all of the weight on just that.
Yeah, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying it's like weighing or balancing between fate and free will?
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. No, totally.
Because it's like if you just wait for DMT to come to you, will it? But if
Right.
you really want to take the reins, you can just look up how to make it yourself online.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're
Then it
exactly
will
right.
really come to you.
Oh yeah.
Right. I think but that's the thing is like you hear it from people who it just did fall in their lap.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think it's both.
right. Right. I've considered taking that route too. Like I have a friend and we were like, "Yo, let's make some like our friend did it in 10th grade, so we should be able to do it." And it involves like getting the acacia tree and then doing some Breaking Bad type stuff in your kitchen.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah?
I've looked it up.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I haven't done it, but
okay.
I've looked it up to do it, just in
Okay.
case.
Yeah. Okay. Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. Same thing with growing mushrooms.
Right.
That's extremely easy. That's the big loophole that's in the system, is that you can order spores right to your house and grow them. You can grow enough to get your whole city high just in your closet, which is insane.
Yeah. It's powerful too. That's like it democratized that. I feel like because that was one of the things.
The experience.
Yeah, one of the things about the '60s that made the movement so powerful is the fact that LSD was something you can mass produce. You know what I mean? Like one bucket of LSD is like 1 million hits. So it's like that can spread so far. And we hadn't had something like that until now, where it's like it's easily accessible for people to grow mushrooms in their home. So that's a really cool like thing that we're experiencing, the second wave.
Yeah.
And shout out Terrence McKenna. He was the one that pioneered it.
Yeah, Terrence
and Dennis.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wrote that book. It was Psilocybin Growers Manual
under.
Oh, you have a copy?
You have a copy?
Hell yeah.
Nice. What? How is it?
Yeah.
Because that has like a thing, and
it's really good.
Doesn't that also have the thing where it's like about the voice of the mushroom being like, "I come from the stars and I know how to build starships and stuff." Isn't that in that book?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's in there. I don't think that is, but it's more of just like a handbook or a field guide for growing your own.
Yeah, that's so cool that they're like directly responsible for that. I'm pretty sure PE mushrooms, that strain is like derived from one that was made for Terrence McKenna, or maybe that strain was made for Terrence by some grower or something like that. I don't.
There's a story. I've heard that story. Yeah.
I think Hamilton Morris. Yeah, some juicy. I love me some McKenna lore. Yeah, that's some juicy stuff. Yeah, so Gary, when you talked to oh look, it's Terrence McKenna. He heard us.
In the chat?
Yeah, there's this person that just joined with the Terrence profile picture. So I'm gonna act like this is actually Terrence McKenna right now.
Well, he might be here spiritually in some sense.
So you talked to Dennis, Gary. Tell me what that was.
As did you.
Huh? Yeah, for like
as did you.
For like 10 minutes, but what was your experience? He's so nice, right?
Oh yeah, nice guy. You wouldn't think I don't think he thinks he knows. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know how much of a legend he is. That's what I came to find, because he's so humble and just honestly like a regular dude. And yeah, I don't remember much, to be honest with you, because it was a few years ago. I'd have to honestly go back and rewatch my own video, which I don't do. But I just remember him being just a regular dude. And him, I remember thinking, like, he doesn't know he's Dennis McKenna.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That might have to.
But that's what makes him a legend.
Yeah. And it might have to do with the fact that he is Terrence McKenna's brother. So, of course, it's going to feel like, how do you not feel like engulfed by that? You know what I mean? But
yeah, it probably feels that.
Yeah. That would be pretty overwhelming.
But like,
yeah, he didn't want to get too far out. He'd always like, I would try to like I try to like go down the psychedelic conversation route that Terrence would want to talk about, and he'd try to bring it back to earth.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I noticed about him is he tries to keep this like a almost like sane. He wants to. I think he wants to be the sane version of Terrence in a way. He doesn't want to get too
Oh boy.
too out there.
Hello.
Hey.
Nice to be
Hello?
here. I cannot help myself. I have to jump in.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about my favorite person ever. And yeah. Hello.
Hey, yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely agreeing with that, but it depends on where you are in the timeline. And they're both great people, and they're just quite different. There were 4 years in between the brothers, right? So, yeah, Dennis was the little brother, and I don't know. You guys, have any of you heard the Brotherhood of Screaming Abyss?
Yeah.
The book by Dennis
I
McKenna?
want to get it. I haven't had the chance to
I
get
loved
it yet.
it. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's essential lore, essential McKenna lore.
Oh
Yeah, yeah, the most essential. Yeah, so the person who said yes to that, you know how difficult it is to kind of summarize it and just sweep it off on, brush it to, yeah, a general conclusion on what they are like. Because,
True.
yeah.
Yeah,
They were the ones who pioneered, like Dennis, who pioneered the method of growing the mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Without that, we wouldn't have even known that there were so many species with psilocybin in it.
Right.
And nobody would have been able to. It would have been a lost psychedelic.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it is the most accessible one worldwide.
Yeah, totally.
And it's usually like the one psychedelic that people can that people do, apparently, according to the surveys or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's also the safest physically.
Yeah.
Have y'all
sort of.
Yeah, have y'all ever seen the it's like a chart of hospital visits for each kind of drug. It shows like then out of all the like drug related hospital visits, what the distribution was of like various substances, and then psilocybin was the lowest number on that list. So that's what I have in mind when I say like it's one of the safest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those visits probably weren't physical. They were probably just somebody they took a little too much. And they thought they were dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yes, it's the one drug that's kind of hard to slip in like dangerous drugs in it because you're growing it yourself usually. Or in my country's case, you get the truffles. So I don't know. There's a lot to it.
That's part of the
but,
miracle of psychedelics, is that they're harmless.
Yeah, well, the one that is technically safer even is LSD, but LSD we have the dangerous ones that you get on the blotters as well, which are not. They were the NBOMAs back 10 years ago. I remember people saying like if it's bitter, it's a spitter.
Yes.
Because then it's not LSD, and so that makes it actually more dangerous because it can be mixed up with and also microdose level of effectiveness, but it's the non safe option and the non-tryptamine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a tryptamine at all. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and some people have actually died from. You're talking about 2,5-I N-bomb, and that's
Really? Right. No
yeah,
wonder.
yeah, and I've had experience with that, and yeah, it was more of a thing like about 10 years ago, like you said, like 10, 15 years ago, like when I first started. So every other time I would take quote unquote acid, it would be either real acid or 2,5-I N-bomb, and some people have actually died from it, and that's like insane. And
Yes.
yeah, I remember being in the back of a car about to pay this guy $80, and then I was like, "So this is acid, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it's acid, man." And I was like what? What do you know about it? And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's this stuff. It's this stuff called N-bomb." And I was like, "Oh okay,
shit.
yeah." And
Oh god.
I
yeah.
think that shows how like the prohibition is actually making these things more dangerous because people have to resort to stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's the tales
Yeah.
of this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, luckily we like in 2009 or something, in my country, like they banned mushrooms, like literally.
Mm.
Um, but somehow we still had a loophole
Mm-hmm.
for the truffles and the
truffles.
mycelium.
Yeah.
But it was quite an ordeal. It was because there was this one story. I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm planning to. Because I really am very obsessed by psychedelic history.
Mm.
But yeah, there was this apparently a girl who had jumped out of the window and had died. And that one incident made it illegal in our country
Mm.
because the media went haywire with it. And they needed something else to kind of attack because people were very pissed off and were not, no, they were not pissed off. They were bored with the weed issue here. So it was just a toxic story again, taking over the ontology of our whole country, and the people who actually knew about what it actually was and how safe it was, they were just brushed aside as if they were nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's very important that we all find our community,
Mm-hmm.
find the others. I am so fucking happy to have found you guys, because I've been looking literally now for 4 months for where I can kind of get back into the communities again.
Yeah.
Because my friend, she's doing the Mechanica site stuff, and she needs to have someone else take over. So if anyone would like to take over the Mechanic Cafe Facebook page and help her out with organizing these events, because she can't do it, unfortunately. But
that's cool.
it's
You
very
said
important that we keep doing this.
the McKenna
connecting
Cafe,
and
you
talking.
said?
Yeah. That's she did that like about 8 years ago or something.
Okay. So I'm curious, you mentioned that like truffles are legal where you live, so do you still
No,
find
they're legal, but the mushrooms are illegal still.
Right. Okay, so
Yeah,
would you
the fruiting
say
bodies.
that where you live is like a psychedelic place, or it's merely like it's allowed?
Oh, well, okay, fuck it. I'm from the Netherlands. Does it help? Maybe.
I figured that's where you're talking about.
Yeah, and yeah, well, weed has been legal here, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, it's in the gray area, but it's been so ingrained, and we've kind of, I've been thinking a lot about the Dutch heritage and how they look at themselves and their policies and stuff, and why they think they're so tolerant. Because I found out they're not tolerant at all, but they're still being seen like that because we were for the longest time
Interesting.
the only or the first country or the only country to kind of done the gay rights stuff, the weed, and I don't know. In the 60s, we also had some good stuff happening here.
Yeah.
But
and there's like walkability and bicycles, making cities.
yeah, but basically we are now kind of we're on our way to becoming the next America, as in just as crazy politically, but with a slightly different middle. Like it's kind of inverted. Like here, there's it's a long story. Let's just not get into it, okay?
Oh, for sure. I was just curious if it was like, like, because when you imagine a place like that where it's, Amsterdam is known as like the weed place and also, the mushroom place. They have retreats and stuff. So I'm just curious, like, yeah, what, like how.
Yes, because we are kind of proud of that. We don't care we don't care at all what religion you practice. But if you're Dutch, there's an expectation and a kind of pressure to never talk about it. And to actually also to not be religious or spiritual, because that is kind of it's a logic that's kind of that secular logic, of at least we're not trying to kill people off because of our religious beliefs and stuff, and which means that on the other extreme of that, we are super hyper suspicious of people who have non-scientifically mainstream ideas and beliefs. And that's what is so incredibly scary for people like us in this country.
I see.
So we have to be really we can do it, but we need to hold this specific role of like an artist or a coach, something, so that okay, they're part of the capitalist system here. At least they're contributing to the society in this way. Then as long as they don't go yap about it too loudly, then it's fine.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's also oppression, but it's kind of this secular kind of dogma that is also toxic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't experienced that, but what you're saying makes sense. That's fascinating. Yeah. So it's almost like
interesting.
It's almost like it's just a human being problem. Like no matter how you dress it up, human beings seem to be like this.
Yeah, like it's pretty tricky because culture is not your friend, right? You guys all know what I mean in this depth. Because I found out this year another layer deeper, last year, and yeah, it's kind of horrible and horrific to see how, and this has to do with psychedelics. To lose your mind for a little bit, to have some schizophrenic episode. Not, I didn't have that, but that will immediately kind of endanger your the human rights that you actually have of freedom and of choosing yourself what you want to take into your body, and that's kind of the stick from the carrot and the stick. Like, okay, be part of our society or else.
Mm.
And the taboos that these cultures, because it's very close to the American one, just anti-Christian more.
Right.
It's the dominator culture.
Yeah, I mean, we were one of those who had quite a hand in it. Apparently, I learned this.
Colonial, history.
New Amsterdam and New York and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just glad that someone figured out a better way of thinking.
Yeah.
And that someone is, of course, Mr. Terence McKenna.
Yeah.
And
the hard part is getting people to listen to him.
Well,
that's the part that I can't figure out.
Well, I would love
be ready,
to.
Man. Just like psychedelics.
I'm
you can't force it on anybody. I've tried it before, and they're like, "What, dude? What's up with this
I
guy's
haven't.
voice?"
I
I'm like,
came back
yeah,
from
exactly.
the edge of it. The weapon of choice is art, as Terence McKenna says, right?
True.
Yeah.
That lecture is the price of miracles. It basically let everything fall into place for me, and I'm finally working on the art project of my life, which is basically an idea that has been cultivating for a long time. And I would love to, to try and see how to bring it to the others.
Sweet, yeah. Well, you're always welcome to share it, in the Discord. Yeah, no, I think the art thing is so powerful. And going back to like how to like get people into Terence McKenna, maybe there's a way of like without getting him like them to listen to him directly, what if you told some of his ideas? Although
that's
what
I've been trying to do so far, and
this.
that works honestly really well. Is just putting ideas that are his into other people's minds through my own words.
Yeah.
But I have so much trouble doing that with consistency, I guess.
Right. It's something you can get better at with practice, because like I feel like when you have some of these early experiences in the beginning, it's easy to be like, there's no way I can ever explain this, which to a certain degree is true, but it's like even the way Terrence describes some stuff is like magnificent, but it doesn't even encapsulate the full thing. And but it's like the attempt at trying creates a beautiful result. So that's kind of how I look at it now. It's like we're never going to be able to fully like capture the essence of all of this stuff, but like our best failed attempts will make something beautiful and creative.
And that's art.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's an art form, or poetry, maybe you could say.
Yes.
I think poetry is paints the picture a little bit better than just being very literal in the sense, in the psychedelic
language. Like it's language. It's literally like art is language, and
yeah, it's a different form of language, right?
Yes, everything, if it has meaning, it's subversive. Because these stories that we've been that have been like kept us small and kept us from understanding like how to work with our emotions and how to not stay traumatized forever, how to find meaning, how to enjoy life, all that. You can only find that if you're curious enough and if you're willing to seek further than the surface level that is being posed to you. Like this is actually the core of what I was gesturing about. This is Terrence's idea, and I put the pieces together, and this idea has led me to this point that, yeah. Anyways, I could talk about it endlessly, but this is the first time that I'm really talking about it.
Yeah.
So
no, that's cool.
it's kind of
I'm happy that that it could be facilitated through this. Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier of like we need to create our own spaces to where it's about like legitimizing it on one hand, and then on the other hand about just like having a outlet, and we want to feel this sense of community, especially for people who are way more isolated. You know, like there's probably a lot of people from small towns that there's like no chance that they're going to meet someone who's into all of this stuff. And yeah, that really
Absolutely.
motivates me.
Absolutely. It's an honor to work with you guys. It's an honor to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys exist. You guys
Aw,
help
thanks.
tremendously,
It's so
no
sweet.
matter how dark it goes or seems. The fact that you're experiencing it means that you are feeling it, and someone else as well. And for that person, you might be the medicine that they need, because the worst thing you can experience is hell alone.
Mm.
And I realize that I'm using hell, but to me that word is kind of super secular now. But there's no, and if you're together, if there's understanding, mutual, a deep level of I'm here, I see you, and you see me, that's the ultimate way to get people out of these traps of pain.
Yeah.
In the subconscious, but also in the now. Terrence did this for me because he gave me that sense of, hey, yeah, he understood as a thing. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm going in
And
circles. I'm sorry.
that's like a form of love too. Whenever you said like it makes you feel seen and understood, I feel like that is what love is too, right? Where it's like you can bare your entire soul. Like even there's different levels to it. So I'm kind of referencing like romantic love or whatever, but like even on a more like friendly level, just to be seen and understood as you are by somebody, you know, it's like a form of love. And that's one very practical way that we can apply this message that seems to be at the heart of these experiences. Like that love is the most important thing. You know, we've all heard it's like a cliche at this point, but like how do we implement that into our lives? And I feel like, yeah, like through community and allowing people to be seen for themselves. I feel like that's a very like solid way to implement this love that we want to try to like bring into the world to like make it suck less.
Yes.
Amen.
To go against labels, because the labels are, yeah.
The
Hey,
labels
hello.
are culture.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's this need to otherize and to distance and to scapegoat. And yeah, I think that Terence said this in one of his lectures. I found that, I'm not sure which one, but that we are self-selected to go to deeper layers. When we are intellectuals, aka we are the ones who figured it out. It's it alienates us, and that, which means we get scapegoated. We become targets. We become excluded. We're usually like the literal underdog of this society, but not seen that way. And to overcome all these toxic labels, which fake, I mean, it's the only reason that people keep repeating them is because it's a fragile a lie instead of a truth about someone. But if it's repeated not fast enough and if you repeat it often enough, we are wired to believe it. It will never let you go. So we can be this medicine for each other.
Yeah.
And say, no, they are wrong. I have a better story about you, which is true or true enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and the alienation is a real thing that I've dealt with. And I feel like doing this kind of thing, like what we're doing right now, helps me integrate that side of myself to where I feel less alienated in like everyday situations, because I'm able to like quote unquote get it out of my system in a sense. Like it's still part, like,
Yeah.
For example, I noticed like before I started the YouTube channel, I used to want to be like subversive on purpose, where I'm like, I'm going to post this like super trippy thing on Instagram, and like I'm going to like make myself known for being like connected to this ethereal world, and like be the self-selected artist to bring it back. And like I still feel that way, but I feel like I have a healthier relationship to it now that I've been like doing the YouTube thing and like connecting to people like you, and like I feel like I can go about my normal side of life, you know, like talking to coworkers and stuff. I feel more grounded in those situations than I had in the past, because I have this outlet, you know?
Yeah. And that in turn will make you much more persuasive when you're telling your truth, and less of a target for the surface normies peoples.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a word for it yet, but it's just to kind of use language better to generate new words, or stories. That's what Terence McKenna's true and core philosophy and his wish was for us. That's what I believe, because it's in every single idea that he's posing. He's doing the memes and putting his meme into this into the conversation. That's why so many times that he says the sort of the opposite. In one group of people, he's like all about aliens, and then the other one, he's all about science.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, he's all about alchemy, and in another one, he's all about spirituality. And he does this so brilliantly. It's astonishing and humbling and very empowering for me, because we're doing it. Just living your truth is the artwork.
Yeah. And I respect
the meme.
Yeah, I have so much respect for people that can like be their weird selves. I also believe that some of us are more stealthy. Like in the Find the Others quote, I'm pretty sure he just said like, we look like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like if you were to just look, besides the fact that I have like a trippy shirt on, you might not be able to know
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just find somebody with a flower in their hair and like, oh, it's you. I know you.
Exactly, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then anybody can wear a mushroom shirt, just like you were saying. Anybody can put a flower in their ear, and we just don't know for sure if they're like you or not.
Right. Me and Gary were actually talking about like how powerful vibes are earlier. We were talking about how like you can get a vibe through a freaking screen. Like you could be reading a message from somebody and you're not even speaking to them. You don't have body language. You don't have any subtle like cues or facial language, but you still get a vibe, and it transmits somehow. So that's so powerful. So I think that's one of the big things about like detecting the other people is like getting a vibe reading. Sometimes you just know when you're talking to someone, like maybe you can't see when you just look at them, but once you start talking to them and get a feel for their energy, I'm like, oh, this person trips.
Yeah.
Or at least it's connected.
It's a sixth sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need
it's a different sense, the intuition sense. I think that comes with psychedelics. Not necessarily always, but I think there's a great opportunity that psychedelics can open you up to, opening your third eye into your other senses. And that other sense is intuition. And intuition is higher than logic. It's something that is very apparent. And it's almost quicker than logic. It's quicker than rationale. It's like automatically, like if I find the others per se, it's usually within 5 seconds of meeting them. I'm like, oh, this is the others.
Yeah, exactly.
This person is part of the others.
It cuts through. Yeah, that's like what we were also talking about. Like it skips this like level of interpretation where you're like, what does this mean? It's like, no, it's just direct hit, straight to the jugular.
Yeah. Or straight to the heart. Really.
Yes. Yeah, from maybe
that's the thing is you can feel like the love. That's really what it. I mean, I don't want to get too corny, but you can feel the love emanating from somebody that is like well grounded and well, realized, we could say, in themselves. Like you just feel loved in their presence, and you can't fake that. You can't fake love.
And the opposite is true too, where you get a feeling and you're like, ooh, this is not feeling good, bro. I have a story about that. Not to be like a vibe killer, but it's just it's a good example of like vibes and intuition being correct. So I went to this guy I went to high school with this guy, and we didn't keep in touch after that for like years, and then he randomly hits me up out of the blue maybe like 6 or 7 years later, and he wants a guitar lesson. And so I say okay, and I give him my address, and then he comes over to take a guitar lesson with me. And as I'm standing in my kitchen like talking with him, I get a vibe that was like, oh, this dude, something is off, like really off. Like I feel like, should I even have this guy in my house right now? But I just tried to play it safe, and like we were on friendly terms, so I didn't have any like immediate threat, but like the vibe was on red alert. And then we had the lesson, and I eventually had to block him because he would like spam like one of my band's Instagram pages and say some like overtly racist stuff about one of the members. And so I had to block him. And then time goes by, and I don't hear anything about him. And then I see like a news report on Facebook of like someone, this guy is in jail for murder. Like he murdered his girlfriend. And I'm like, dude, my vibe detector was correct in feeling like something was off with this guy. I literally had a murderer in my house.
That's crazy.
So
the vibes don't lie.
The vibes don't lie.
Like I said, you kind of start to attract them, especially when you're.
Oh, I think we lost her.
And we lost her.
Oh,
and she's back.
Sorry.
You're there? You good?
Continue.
All right.
Did you say continue?
Yeah, weren't you?
Yes.
Weren't you?
Continue, please.
Oh,
I have too much.
I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something. Sorry.
Oh, the vibes don't lie. That's the topic we're on right now. The vibes don't lie, and it's so apparent. And it works both ways, like you said. It works in what you want per se, or what you don't want. It's yeah, it's so apparent, man. I think it's like a superpower. I think we all have it, so it's really not that super, but not everybody's in touch with it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I totally agree with your point about like intuition being such a powerful thing, and that like you can unlock it even more with psychedelics, or maybe even just like it strips away the things that were blocking you from unlocking it. It's not like some new thing you acquire. It's more just like the noise is cleared for you to be able to access this power of the intuition. And it is such a powerful thing, like day-to-day life. And speaking of vibes too, I feel like we're talking more like on a personal level, but I think art is an even more powerful way to like get a vibe check from somebody. Like when I hear certain kinds of music, I'm like, I want to be friends with this person just based on like the music that they make. I mean, there's a chance they're a horrible person, but like at least we would have some common interests, you know? And that was one of the things that helped me start this channel was I saw a band do like a live in-studio performance. There's this YouTube channel called KEXP, and they do like live performances in a studio. And I saw this band called Vinyl Williams, and they had these like super psychedelic shirts on, and they had a song called Space Age Utopia, and the music was super celestial. And I was immediately like, I found my tribe. Like, these are my people. So even though I didn't get like a vibe check from them as individuals, the art that they made resonated, and it communicated something to my intuition that told me this is, you know, you found your tribe. And I ended up joining that band for a tour, and they were like interviewing them was the first video I made on this channel. So that's how powerful vibes can be. It can literally like alter the course of your life if you meet the right person.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what it's Mass Tricksteria said, is that art is another form of communication or language. I do fully believe that. Like, think about how much information. So let's think about how much information is in my words right now. It's pretty basic, right? Like, it's pretty. What I say, it's like there's not much data you could say in my words, but think about the data that's in the Mona Lisa or in a really good song in Stairway to Heaven. You're just getting so much.
Yeah.
For so little, really, like a painting, but there's just like there's so much meaning, I guess you could say.
Right.
More than just like the basis level of words, and that's where I think is also the power of poetry. Like you're getting meaning other than just like the base symbology of the word.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it's like it's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess it all has to do with vibes. Yeah, it's like the vibes that you get from it. But what are vibes? Vibes are just information. It's just another form of information, and I think it's just like better condensed information that art presents to us, or at least has the opportunity to present to us.
That's a really interesting like area to think about. I never thought about that. Yeah, like vibrations as information, and what you can intuit based on that.
Yeah. I mean, everything's information, as Terence McKenna says. The world is made of language.
Yeah.
Or you I don't know. He said either one.
Just made of language.
Yeah. And if you know the right words, then you can unlock the world, basically, was something like that.
I've found like I think 4, but I think I can say 3 versions which mean the same. The world is made of language. The world is made of meaning, and the world is made of words. And and the world is made of ideas. There. I'm trying to like gather everything together, and so I can make like a comprehensive, deep video showing you. Okay, this is what I mean. But so yeah, if you perchance find a timestamp where he says this, hit me up.
Okay.
It will help me out with the archive.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Continue. Sorry. I agree. Wonderful.
Gary, continuing on like what you were talking about, something that both I think music and poetry and other kinds of art, but music and poetry, what I think they can do as far as like what information they're communicating, it can take something very subtle and nuanced and amplify it. Where it's like you might hear something where you're like, oh, like this is putting that feeling that I can like barely detect and barely understand. It's like making it loud and clear, and now I understand this aspect of my emotions even deeper, where it's like the subtle feeling of like waiting for you're waiting at the bus stop and it's raining and you're feeling some kind of longing or whatever, something so specific like that, and then it can just blow it up, it can expand it. So that's that's kind of like, I think, adds to what you were saying about information. It's like it can take quiet things and make them loud, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what is at the richness of experience too, is all those little things is the richness of being alive. And to have something that kind of reinforces that feeling, that's just like, it's like medicine.
Yeah. And I think it's medicinal because, touching upon the last point, is it provides meaning in a seemingly meaningless world. If you don't have art or the beautiful things, then it's like, what is this? Am I just going to work every day, just surviving, just barely hanging on? But then you put on Stairway to Heaven, you're like, no, wait, there's something more to this experience than just suffering.
Yeah.
Or you look at a really good painting, or you just, whatever the art form is, it provides your life with meaning. And I think it, like, really good art brings you into you in some way. It provides whatever the artist created it with. They created it almost for you. It probably wasn't consciously on purpose, but I think a really good artist like makes it for the viewer of the art in some way. And ultimately, I think it has to do with meaning and emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
know what I mean.
You have no idea how deeply this is. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Absolutely. It's just such a big topic, and it's really absurd to, after all these years, for the first time, someone else has this idea besides Terence McKenna saying this. But I've been through the extreme of not having art at all for me, because it's it's a big story. That's I would love to tell it, but thank you guys, but just wanted to say thanks.
Yeah.
And I would love to also hear your stories, like, so much. It will definitely help with like, let's build this together,
Yeah.
because we're all resonating with the core of it, I hope. If not, then it's going to be pretty quickly that we notice stuff going awry and need some more healing. But yeah, I know that's how it can just solve itself, as long as we kind of have this idea clear for ourselves that we got to follow our not intuition, follow our taste.
Or what? I didn't hear that.
Taste.
The taste. If you've seen like the lecture of The Doors of Creativity by Terence McKenna.
Love that one.
That one saved my life like 4 times over.
That's one of the best of his talks.
Yeah, it is.
I literally was so stuck in this capitalist idea of what art is supposed to be and what art is and what good taste is, that I was completely lost. I didn't trust my taste. I didn't feel safe to make anything. And Terence just single-handedly was the only person who could give me this other story to choose from, besides the subconscious attitude of like, yeah, if it has to be original or else it's just commercial, and commercial is very bad. And I don't know who grew up in like the 90s and the 2000s, but yeah, so it was really, really nasty stuff going around, and there was just no other option than to just try to keep yourself afloat with, okay, what can I focus on that isn't being bullied or gate kept? Because in the early 2000s, that was like the go-to for every teenager. You shit on people who like a certain band or and there's just no way out. Especially not if you kind of liked so many styles and so deeply. Uh, I don't know, just spitballing here. I don't like that I'm talking the microphone so much. Please.
It's okay. No,
take it away from me.
I think we enjoy listening.
Yeah. Do y'all have any thoughts on that? Because I think, yeah, taste can lead you. Taste can often be the thing that leads you to somewhere way deeper, and that's
If you say passion, then you're kind of gatekeeping that it has to be super intense and overwhelmingly sure of it that you really like it. But if it's your taste, then it's more about kind of curious about it. I want to have more of it. I want to go, that's nice. Yeah, that feels like a great direction to go in. And that is the key. That is the key that Terrence used his whole life, together with his that he doubts everything. And that's the way of the trickster. That's the name of this idea slash movement. And yeah, it's basically the shaman, but without the religious connotations that it has nowadays.
I had
if I look,
during a mushroom experience, I had a vision of, I was listening. Have you heard of the band Stereolab?
No.
No? Okay. They're a 90s band. They had an album called Dots and Loops. It's an amazing album. I listened to it on mushrooms, and I closed my eyes while I was listening to it, and I had a vision of like the singer being like this shaman girl in the waterfall, you know? And then I just felt so strongly like to embrace that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in everyday life, you might not feel legitimized to be that character. And that was one of the things that Terrence said. It was like, be the crazy shaman in the waterfall. And embracing that. And I mean, it does take a certain level of alienation. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, if you integrate that side of your life, then you can operate on the earthly plane as well, have a foot in both worlds, so to speak.
It's not the white side. It's not the black side. It's the edge. It's the interface. The mercurial edge, which, of course, there's only one folkloric figure that is known for running the edges, for being able to escape any trap, and who always is curious for the next big adventure. And that's the trickster. The problem is when you say trickster, people think devil. But that is not congruent with the core of the trickster, in my opinion. Because curiosity is not evil.
Yeah.
It can't be mean because it's just curious to see, oh yeah, let's go that route. I mean, it contains bouts of trickster, it's bouts of the devil or bouts of the evil, but it's always kind of getting boring the moment that you're trying to control people around you, and it's just you kind of going regressing inwards instead of going out to explore the world and follow your taste. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that, and I'm very pet. It's my pet peeve, basically. But it's I've got a lot of books and stuff that I can give you guys on the Discord server. The titles are I think also uh, oh yeah, the one book that I actually wanted to share with you guys is the Acid Dreams by Martin Lee and Hubert Schlein. I'm not sure, but
That one's good.
Martin
That's what
Lee.
got me into psychedelics.
Really?
Yeah, you.
That's really good.
God,
That's awesome.
it's riveting. That it's the entire history of LSD.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mad wicked. I love it.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah, I mean I haven't even finished it, but it's already been such a huge influence in my life. Looking forward to talks with you guys. We can have a book club or
Yeah. We have a book club little thing in the Discord, don't we? Or wait, psychedelic books. Yeah, psychedelic book club. That's a little subcategory in the Discord.
Excellent.
But yeah, I definitely want to read that. That sounds great.
That book, I originally read it because I was a history buff, and then after reading it, I was a psychedelic buff. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting how much history is intertwined with psychedelic beliefs.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well,
I mean, the
our
60s
whole-
were like
everything from the 60s.
Well, like all of history, not
As in
even
the art.
just,
I'm talking art.
not even just the 60s.
all religion, most likely.
True.
Most religions are probably based upon the psychedelic experience in some way, whether it was endogenously or with an actual chemical. It was through psychedelic experience, the expansion of consciousness in some way.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the video of Terrence McKenna talking with Ram Dass?
Yeah, that one's goated.
Yes.
That one's pretty good.
Yes.
That just because since you're a history buff, Gary, I want to know like if you have any thoughts about like the history of the 60s and like where it went wrong. Because one of the things they said in the Ram Dass, because Terrence asked that question specifically to Ram Dass, he was like, where did the 60s go wrong and what can we do to avoid it in the 90s, which they might have been a little jumping the gun there to say it was happening in the 90s, but I can say that it is happening again now. And one of the things that Ram Dass said was like basically the overdoing the naivete is essentially what it boiled down to. Is like this idea, because I think we've all had trips where we're like at the peak of this amazing trip and we're like, if only everyone in the world had this, there would be world peace. And
it's true on one hand, right?
Yeah.
But
you can't force it though. That's the thing. You can't
Well,
over evangelicalize it.
it was I would love to dive into it and just watch it with you guys maybe. There's so much layers to it.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start.
Let me pull
And
this up.
I too I want to
Pull it up. It's a long one though.
Pull it up now.
Oh, okay. Let's
Isn't it like 40 minutes?
Oh shit. Let me just see if there's like a quote of that. Let's see. Maybe not the whole thing, but
Well, to answer your question, I think it was just an overzealousness.
Yeah.
Which I think you spoke of a little bit. They just went a little too hard.
Gotcha.
Hard in the paint.
Well, they both give their 2 cents on it. It's so much information condensed in like only a couple of sentences, or maybe like less than you can count on one hand, as far as I can remember. But yeah, let's go. Do this.
Okay, how about I'm going to pull it up and we'll look at the chapters and then see which chapter might be the one. Because, yeah, I don't think we can do this whole 40-minute one. So psychedelic experience, 20th century thought, are psychedelics a
You
miracle?
could look at the transcript and then search the transcript. It might make it easier. So just like search
Yeah.
like certain keywords in the transcript.
Revolutionary.
I see this
The
one.
revolution. That's the word that they used in that part.
The problem of the 60s. I think this might be it.
Well, when
Okay, I don't know how you guys are listening to this, but you might want to like be looking at the stream or something, or maybe I can screen share on Discord too. I don't know if no, I think that would be weird for the stream. So yeah, maybe if you guys can look at the actual stream again.
I'm
maybe
looking
if you guys.
pull it up.
Okay, I'll give you a second.
I'm watching.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm on.
I'm gonna have to mute myself.
Okay. All right. Sorry, this is not in center. I didn't really like set up this thing, so it's gonna be kind of like crooked looking off the side. But here we go. Everyone good?
Yep. We're good.
All right.
when you mentioned in your talk the other night, since some people think the 90s are going to be a second turn of the spiral, I observed the 60s as a spear-carrying 14-year-old. I was down in the masses. What were the mistakes that are avoidable if there's a second chance?
They're inevitably going to be avoided. The first mistake was idealism. The first mistake, and the mistake was thinking that because you had seen it, you could just go like that and everybody else would see it.
Yep.
And you could just say, it's all love, and then everybody would love. I mean, it was a naivete. It was naivete. It was not working on ourselves deeply enough to be without the clinging of mind that made us try to use it. It was our lurking righteousness that got in our way.
Can you make a revolution, though, without an inner righteousness?
That's the far out question of where would the action come from? And there's this line in Buddhism that says, out of emptiness arises compassion. And what I experience is that there is a way in which I can sit down in front of a truck or feed a person or go make love or go surf, and there is an appropriateness in every one of those acts. And for me to hear that, I've really got to shut up. And my work is to keep shutting up, to hear which one it is. And if it is a revolution, so be it. Mm-hmm. So be it. You know the story of the monk and the army general, and the army general's disemboweling all the monks? And his reputation has spread far and wide as a cruel, cruel man. And he comes into this village and he says to his adjutant, tell me what's happening. The adjutant said, all the people are frightened, they're bowing down to you. All the monks in the monastery have fled to the hills but one monk. And the general was outraged about this one monk. And he gets up and he goes to the monastery and he pushes open the doors of the monastery and he walks into the courtyard, and there's the monk standing in the middle of the courtyard. And he walks up to him and he says, don't you know who I am? I could take my sword and run it through your belly without blinking an eye. And don't you know who I am? I could have your sword run through my belly without blinking an eye. That's great. That's the place from which revolutions can heal.
How do you guys interpret that little story that he said about the monk? Like basically, like you be willing to die. Like it's like a compassionate revolutionary.
Yeah, the revolution of consciousness.
It is a radical curiosity of everything, a readiness to being present and to experience it with open eyes, and seeing it as the part of the great adventure of life. This was the choice of that monk, because probably they've already had many times that they've run away, and that's kind of a boring kind of option now, so he's gonna try the other one that he hasn't tried yet.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
which is seeing the other
Hmm?
that you're trying to evangelicalize as not really the other, and that they're in their own
Yeah.
situation. They're in where they're supposed to be. And he wasn't saying that's like a direct metaphor for the 60s. He's saying from that place is where radical revolution happens.
I see.
Like
Okay.
that place of seeing is how you change. When in the 60s they weren't seeing it like that. They were trying to be like, we're the enlightened ones and we got to wake people up because they're unawake. So they were seeing it all wrong, over idealism, as he said. You know, they were trying to spread the gospel a little too much.
Cough,
And that
cough,
turned
Tim
people
Leary.
off.
Yeah, so it's basically that either you win or I win. That dichotomy, that hierarchy, instead of everyone is part of the great big everything. And I see you as part of everything, and this is a great adventure. How about I don't villainize you as if you have to be eradicated, but see this as a friendly wrestling match of some sort, where neither.
Oh, we lose you?
Sounds like it.
In the 60s, especially McKenna. But yeah.
I think we
It's
lost.
about that oneness.
We lost you for a
sorry.
second, so I didn't hear exactly the last
I'll
part.
take that as a sign. I'll let other people speak.
No, but y'all's interpretation of that kind of helped me understand where he was coming from, because yeah, like I heard it and I was like, I'm not sure I get the message that's being portrayed here.
Yeah, it's tough because it's not like a direct metaphor in the 60s. It's like he's trying to say where it all comes from. Like if you really want to have a revolution, it comes from simply being able to recognize the other as not really the other. And what is that story? Like, don't you know who I am? I could have your sword come pierce me and not blinking eye. Because he realizes like he's not actually being harmed and there is no other. It really just comes down to like there is no other.
Or he's like just
we are
so
all equal.
steadfast that he's like, I'm doing this. So it doesn't have to be in this Buddhist or Nirvana kind of perspective. It can be just radical being present because you choose to, because you're ready to experience it, whatever it is, because for whatever reason. But it is not fighting. It is a becoming one with the experience without resistance, right? So it's more Taoist in a sense. But all these labels are very tricky because they kind of trap you in these modalities that ultimately lead you away from the core of it, which is you are curiosity itself. So flow with your curiosity. Come on.
That's great
Much more
advice.
fun.
That's one of the things that I tell my guitar students if I know it's going to be my last lesson with them. I'd be like, the one thing I want you to take away from me is that follow your curiosity. Like, let that lead you in your learning, you know, but just in general, like following that thread of whatever makes you curious is kind of what it led us here. That's the reason I'm here and you're here, because we were curious.
Every
about
one
something.
of you know that this is the one advice that Terence gave before his death.
Which
to
was
follow your curiosity, to follow your taste, curiosity. He said curiosity. It's in the last interview where he's it has video footage, and he's being asked if he has one last advice.
That was the first
One core
Terrence
advice.
video that I watched.
Whoa.
Was his last interview.
Wow.
And just from that, it really like I loved him right off the bat.
That's funny. That's like watching the last Star Wars first.
Yeah.
Tell me how did that happen and what did you also have that you could only hear like a fraction of it and the rest was like what the hell are these words doing together in a sentence? I don't understand. I couldn't link them yet. So
I think it was
yeah.
I was sort of grasping at his ideas and I was thinking about them lightly at the time, but I didn't have a full concept of what they were. And I had already tried psychedelics with my friends, and so knowing that he is basically the guy that brought psychedelics to us, I was just very interested in what he had to say, and I wanted to figure out what it was he had to say. And I couldn't figure out where to start for the longest time. And I saw this video and like I don't know what exactly it was. I guess it was my intuition, my curiosity had clicked right there, and I just had to watch it, and it was amazing the whole way through.
My first video was it was the Machine Elves. It was like his DMT. It's like classic Terrence McKenna.
Oh yeah.
So that's usually one that I recommend. Yeah, the self-dribbling basketballs. Yeah, it's his number one hit.
Basketballs are awesome.
Yeah.
I think a great introduction. There's this album that he was a part of. Let me see if I can find it.
Some of his original tapes too, like there's one called Making Maps of Hyperspace. He had made like a cassette, a bunch of cassettes in like the early 80s, like 1982. And that was some of the like first ever recordings of him, but they're also like really good. Like,
if you haven't listened to it, you need to listen to Alien Dreamtime by Space Time Continuum and Terrence McKenna.
Yeah.
I'm listening to
Alien Dreamtime is
yes.
fantastic.
Link it all in the Discord.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Please, just everyone.
What's funny is I had that pulled up, like ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Not today, but like early or like a few weeks ago, I had that in a tab. Like I'm gonna watch this. So, yeah.
Yeah. That is it's a great way to grasp the ideas of of what he's trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says basically everything that he wants to say.
And I watched.
He does later on. He says there's a word or two that he wanted to change about it, but like it really says everything that the message that he wanted to put out.
Oh, sounds great.
In a fantastic way because it's through music. It's through music. I love it.
Nice.
You know what's interesting is Terrence never recorded his own talks. It was all third parties, supposedly.
You're right.
Yeah, Faust and Bray. Sound photosynthesis. They're called.
What?
They're called sound photosynthesis. They're I think they're a couple, married couple. Faustin and Bray. I don't know. It's like 10 years ago ish when I had my first deep dive. That's not true. I think I basically found Terrence at the right before the Mayan calendar ended, like December
Dude.
2012.
Me too.
It was so weird.
Yeah,
And nothing
I love
happened.
that theory because I was so curious, like who came up with this theory, and that was like it was the beginning of the mystery for me, was that moment in time, because that was a big deal for what, fifth grader me, sixth grader me. The world is about to end, but I didn't know anything about who, what, where, or when, or why about it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually Terrence's idea that has been that was kind of completely turned around to this super simple, all-purpose, new age spiritual. We're going to ascend to a higher level of vibration, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's just yeah, but there's just I would love to like talk to you guys about it and hear your experiences more in depth because I've been basically kind of cooked up on my own. I found psychedelics on my own. Never went like had like big groups of people to go and rave with until like much later, and that's yeah. Also a very different scene now in this country. So yeah, just very interesting to see Terrence's effect on culture worldwide. I mean, are you guys all from America or
I think
sort of
so.
in that?
Yeah, I'm from Texas, which we're our own country, by the way. Not really,
Yeah.
but we feel like it.
Yeah, I don't mean to like pry or anything. Just
No, it's okay. I don't mind sharing. But yeah, I am getting hungry. I have not had any dinner, guys, so I think we should just wrap it up for today. But just so you know, I'm planning to do this the fourth Sunday of every month, and I want to always include the Discord. So, yeah, this will be more of a regular thing, and I'm glad that y'all could be a part of it. The whole channel is Find the Others. So I think doing this live stream with the Discord is a great way to like bring in the people that I've crossed paths with thanks to this.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
Someone
you.
needs to do it.
And thank you guys for listening. Please join the Discord. I'd love to hear and see your stories. And if you resonate with any of it, come and join and help bring better art into this world, better stories for each other.
100%.
More meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
enjoy life.
Yeah. And that's something I can get behind. Something really inspiring to get behind. So I appreciate y'all a lot, and hope you have a good rest of the night.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right.
Thank you.
See
Buenas
you.
noches.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Take it easy, guys, but take it.
Classic.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye.